migrants, it appears. Leo, there's a bit of a fuss about this.
Yeah, so some refugee charities have been kicking up a stink about Suella Braverman's blanket ban on channel migrants, claiming asylum would be barbaric and unlawful, according
It's an unfortunate phrase, blanket ban, isn't it? What she means is all of them, rather than they're not to be kept warm, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's something that works in Australia. In Australia, if you come into the country illegally, then you forfeit any right to stay in the country. And so people don't do it. And it makes sense because it's very dangerous, crossing the sea on rickety dinghies and things to get into the country. It's dangerous and also funds these criminal groups of traffickers. So, it's a good idea to reduce it as much as possible. But yeah, these refugee charities are saying it's clear that the Home Secretary cares only for keeping people out, not keeping them safe. But what about the people in this country? I mean, some asylum seekers, some people abuse the asylum seeker to get into the country to commit horrific crimes. There was the potentially horrific attempted bombing in Liverpool. Luckily, he just blew himself up. He tried to blow up a maternity ward. This was Emad al-Swahin. He was using the asylum system to stay in the country, and they can game the system. So they come here and they say, I've converted to Christianity, so you can't send me back because I'll be persecuted, when they haven't converted to Christianity.
I think it's fair to say as well, you don't actually need, I don't think, in my view, to point at the extreme cases, dangerous though they are. It's escalating. The numbers now are absolutely absurd, and there is a generally held view in this country that this isn't working, it's not safe, it's not something we want to happen.
I do feel uncomfortable with pointing a finger at that guy getting in that horrible little boat on the coast of France somewhere and risking his or her life to come over here and saying it's their fault that this country's economy.
I don't think they're saying it's their fault.
But it feels that way when this sort of thing says a blanket ban on asylum. It's as if she's angrily pointing at these people saying we're going to get them.
I think it's more about the system being broken. The system is irretrievably broken at the moment. It needs to be reformed because at the moment you've got the taxpayer paying for lawyers to game the system to let people stay. So, we're paying to work against our own best interests.
And there is also,
refugees, they're fleeing France. So it's not as if they're fleeing a war-torn country.
Well,
they're fleeing poor customer service.
To be fair, and I don't feel this way, but just to put this sort of opinion in, France does take its fair share as well, and there should be probably some distribution across the wealthy nations. But I think one of the things that happens is the emotive side of it. I mean, there was this commercial made in presumably in a number of hours with Hollywood stars, Emma Thompson and Meryl Streep, I think, and Sylvester Stallone and Harry Potter and people all kind of, lampooning Braverman's. I mean, an extraordinary thing, just like that.
Yeah.
It's constantly the kind of the smart kids, the emotional heartstrings are played entirely from that side.
On these Hollywood elitists, they live in gated communities, so they're not going to be the people, actually having to integrate, having to deal with that, and having competition for their jobs. And the people coming across the channel is mostly men. I'd understand if they're refugees, the Ukrainian refugees, women and children. So that makes sense.
It's important to repair it too, because what happened in Italy in the elections a couple of weeks ago had a lot to do with their broken immigration system.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It will feed into a hard right parliament. Come on. Anyway, on to the Times. And